The opinions expressed on this podcast are our own and do not represent the views of any businesses, sponsors, organizations, or partners we work with.
You guys ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, let's fucking do this.
All right.
Let's do some gratuitous violence.
All right. We're going to get started. All right. Hey, Reno here with Infinite Patriot Boomtown Crew Podcast. This is our second episode ever. We've learned a lot. Hopefully we're getting better. We have here with us, as I can speak, Casey Bieber, the Beebmeister.
Wow. You've never once said
I've
that.
never said that. So
Where did that come from?
when the camera starts recording, you start saying stupid shit.
Yeah, this goes back to episode 1.
So Casey and I and all of us, we've tried to build this podcast for a handful of years now. Between busy lives, Casey had deployed to Iraq and everything else, we kind of got held up on actually designing and developing the podcast. Now we're actually able to do it. So without further ado, Casey, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
All right. Well, so I've known Shane going on 20 years. We went to high school together.
I'm
We
sorry.
both got to see the awkward years of each other. Reno, you and I have known each other, 5 years now?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yep.
I'm currently sitting with 13 years on the fire department. Joined that after I joined the military, and I'm looking at 19 years of service in February. Hopefully we'll be able to retire at 20, not have to take that any longer than absolutely necessary. Full-time, I work as a aviation mechanic for the Guards, so my full-time job is tied to staying in the military.
Oh, sweet. And of course, we know you at the fire department too.
Yep.
So
Yeah, what do you do with the fire department? What's your history there?
Oh man, that's ancient history at this point. So I had the opportunity and the blessings, I would call it, of getting to grow up in the firehouse. I chased my grandpa down there, my uncle a few times, and then finally joined the fire department after my first deployment, finally getting that dream that I had as a child to be a Laurel firefighter. Worked my way through the ranks, did my probie year, got slapped a few times because I was an overmotivated probie. Went to maintenance assistant just because that tied in with what I did for the Guard, working on helicopters and being a mechanic there. And then did 2 years in the training office as a training assistant, and then really started finding my niche as an operations captain. And that's led to me being a captain for almost 10 years now.
now that we have all three of us here, because I'm Maureen and I can't count, both of us here, all three. One of the hardest things I think for me when I got into the department was kind of changing that military, that battle ready type mentality to fighting structure fires and kind of being a little bit more smooth, kind of not having to worry about Al-Qaeda or ISIS or anybody coming around the corner or anything like that. Was that a hard transition for any of you guys, Casey?
I guess as the senior firefighter from military guy sitting at the table, for me, it filled a void. My first deployment I spent working with a medevac company. I was a maintainer for the medevac company on a small team set apart from our flagpole.
Yeah.
And for us, it's just like the volunteer fire service or even the full-time fire service where you're not running and gunning all the time.
Right.
You're sitting waiting for those calls to come in. And I had that mentality from the medevac. We'd relax, we'd hang out, we'd have fun. But when it was time to go to work, it was time to go to work. There was no, hey, you're on guard 110% of the time. So for us, we at least got that relaxed time. Like our guys, when they were off duty, even though we were in country, you still relaxed. You didn't go bother guys. So for me, it filled that void of living that lifestyle for a year. And I actually think a lot more of the military plays into the fire service for me because it's really easy to take an order on scene if someone's getting a little flustered based on the situation versus taking them yelling at me to heart.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I might come back and have a conversation, be like, hey, you good? Or
Yeah, there's a
did I
time
do
and
something
place.
wrong?
Yeah.
Time and place. If there's something needs to get done, just do it. We'll talk about it after.
Right.
And my experience was vastly different than yours. I was on the ground. So it was, once we're outside the wire, it's 14, 16 hours of just driving 2 to 3 clicks an hour, looking for bombs. That's all we were doing.
Yeah.
And it was boring, 99%, but that 1% is the stuff that you generally remember.
Yep.
And then when we get back to base and we'd have like 1 or 2 days off, same thing. We're off. They'd leave us alone, play some Xbox, World of Warcraft, whatever, go to the gym a lot. So
Yeah, I mean, even during like fire season, like wildland season, I've learned a crap ton on how to hurry up and wait. Fill my time full of a bunch of shit that might be unnecessary, and keeping myself entertained. You know, I guess I can take that from the military too. Like most people just sleep. I'm like, man, I can use this as an opportunity to play video games, fuck with people. You know?
Right.
station pranks.
Yep. I think, mine's pretty similar to Shane's. You know, like I wasn't really much aviation. Obviously, I was behind a camera, so I was flying all over the place. I was doing all sorts of different stuff, but my transition, and it was years in between too, because I joined the fire department a little bit later. I remember it was both of you. Hey man, no running. Hey, calm down, relax. You're gonna get there.
Yeah, we don't run on the fire.
I'm like, we're mission oriented. Let's go. What are we doing? That thing's on fire. Let's go. You know, like,
I remember having to tell you that. Hey, if we're running, what message does that send to everybody else?
it's scary.
Has went entirely wrong.
Yeah, there's such a thing as hurry up and get the job done, but actively running, nah.
Yeah.
We're not.
You
Gonna,
can go at a fast pace,
Yeah,
you know, especially when shit's hitting the fan. Or something.
we're shorthanded, and there's only
Gotta
three of
get
us.
everything set up.
Yeah,
Moving with a purpose.
Yeah, moving with a purpose. Yep. So that's a big thing. I mean, you hear the controversy all the time, like between different departments. Some departments allow their firefighters to run, you know, and we see it as that slow is smooth is fast. Hey, while you're actually like quickly walking to the engine, you're putting in that checklist in your head. You're figuring out, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what cabinet it's in, and this is like you're kind of rechecking yourself, and it's a good check and balance for me, you know. And that's a hard thing for me to learn, you know. Hard charger, like, come on, let's go. Like I want to go out there and I want to kill that fire, you know, that kind of thing. So
Well, and we all had that same mentality when we were all rookies.
yeah.
We were just excited to be there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it could be a 2 a.m. CO alarm, and we're just as excited. Like we've got a couple of rookies on right now that's exactly what they are. They don't care what it is.
They're motivated to be there.
Oh, yeah. There's some good guys. I mean, they're there all the time. They're just like me, just like you guys, you know, they're just anticipating that moment for when they're actually cleared so they can actually go. Like, and I'm sure Shane, this white hat, they're like, hey, can I go? Can I go? They're like right in your face right when you're there. You're like, hey man, we got like 10 other guys in front of you. Like, hold up.
I tell the one, he pays me the money. He can spray paint my color to be the right one so I can tell him he can go.
Yeah, he was giving me a hard time the other day. I'm like, when have I ever told you no? He's like, fair point. I'm like, there's a time and place. So you don't have to be up in my face asking for me all the time, man. I know you're here.
Yeah.
I promise.
Yeah. Yeah, the group of good guys, and you know, like we all learned is, again, it was different. You know, obviously Army versus Marines too. Like those mentalities are just slightly different when it comes to some of that stuff. Today, one of our topics that we wanted to kind of discuss.
We pause real quick. Chief's calling me.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Sorry,
Here,
guys.
go ahead and just answer on the phone. Let's hear that. I'm just kidding.
I can't. It's over there. Hold
shit.
on. I'll answer it on my watch.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah, back to the
We're back.
regular scheduled programming.
Back to the regulars. We're back on board, baby. Okay. What were we talking about before we got into
don't know.
that?
I think-
with the raccoons.
No.
that's later.
Raccoons are later.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we're talking. We're covering. We get distracted really easy.
Yeah, we're squirrels.
We're raccoons.
That's why you have a
That's
list.
right.
I think what we
Rabid.
wanted to talk about was what we're doing as a department, and specifically something that you've taken upon yourself, Casey, is to do something pretty special. I think so. I'd love to hear more about that.
I guess the backstory is the easiest way to start on this. So I went through, wasn't a nasty divorce, but a divorce nonetheless, and was in a dark spot myself. Got an email tail end of 2022 that the Massachusetts Guard was sending out their aviation unit, and they were sitting at about a 50% strength. And in my dark, twisted little mind, it was the right idea to go overseas. I also got talked into it by a friend of mine that I've known for years in the unit. And so him and I volunteered together. I went overseas, run-of-the-mill deployment for tail end of anything in the GWAT. We were there, we were moving troops, moving supplies, nothing big. And then the October issue with Gaza and Israel all kicked off. Well, about that time, that real easy deployment, I would call it, turned into something mentally taxing. I was in Al-Assad, Iraq, and spent the next 70 days getting bombed, missiled, mortared, drone attacks nonstop. I think in the span of 3 weeks, we recorded 70-some different attacks, and they were all in the middle of the night. Those times where we're like, yeah, this is a safe time. We can rest, we can recoup, and that was starting to get interrupted and affecting everybody across the board. Well, at the time, it was myself and a handful of other guys that had multiple deployments, long time in the military. We were kind of the glue that held everything together because we had a bunch of new people that had never deployed, had been in the Army less than 6 years, and we were the rock, so to speak. And I ended up shouldering a lot more of that than I initially realized, and came home at the end of, actually at the beginning of 2024, started my terminal leave, and there was little things here and there that were starting to like raise red flags in my own brain that there was problems. Case in point, our pager going off in the middle of the night. There were, a handful of times that pager goes off. My brain's instant reaction was we were getting bombed. And it took me 30 seconds, minute and a half to collect myself and be like, all right, no, you're home, you're safe, you got to go do a job. And then a few weeks after that, I think, what was it, Super Bowl, I think, something or another, we were hanging out, having a good time, and I had a complete, drank too much. 100% will admit that.
100%. I wouldn't say mental breakdown, but you were in a bad spot.
I was in a bad, more an emotional snap. But that really opened my eyes to, hey, you've got a problem. You've got a lot of stuff that you're holding on to and you haven't resolved. And that started my own mental health journey to fixing those problems and finding ways to cope and answer and move forward in life, because I 100% didn't want to be jumping and jiving and being afraid of the basic things that I do and enjoy. So fast forward about a year, started dating a new gal, real great relationship, and we started talking the mental health aspect of it. And she brought up, we were actually bringing down a tree in Shane's front yard. And in the span of about 15 minutes, we were talking about doing a mental health message weekly to our fire department, because we do have a lot of young guys and folks that have less than 5 years of service, and trying to get rid of that stigma of, if you're having problems, if something bothers you, just bury it down and don't talk about it. So I try my best at this point, and for 2026, I'm off to a bad start, but I do want to get that back up to a weekly thing. Just little mental health tips. Hey, your resiliency is not just how you get up and can lift 500 pounds. It's also how your mind reacts, and basically spreading the message of it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. And I look forward to seeing them. I know that there's probably more than a few members that maybe just, there's a message from Casey. It's on Monday. I'm going to ignore it. But those, you never know who you're impacting. I mean, it was a funny conversation.
It absolutely
but
was.
With one of the rookies, and he brought it up, and he was actually said he looked forward to reading that and brought it up just on his own.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Right. And I mean, there's no expectations with that podcast, or with not the podcast.
There's a lot of expectations for the podcast.
With that message, it's more so putting it out there and reaffirming the fact that, hey, if you're having problems, reach out. It doesn't have to be your leadership. It doesn't have to be your wife. It can be anybody, wife, husband, preacher, anybody who you can reach out and say, I need some help.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you brought that up. So is there a difference with talking to firefighters and other people who might understand that versus talking to your family?
In my experience, there absolutely is. And I've seen it just generationally with uncles, grandfathers, other family members who have been military. We let people in tears. When I first joined the Army back in 2007, I knew what my grandfathers had done in Vietnam. I knew what my uncle kind of did. And then I went to basic, and I got a little farther in the door. And then after my first deployment, I was hearing stories. I had been initiated into that brotherhood. Hey, all right, this guy's been there. He knows. We can talk a little more.
Different war, different experiences, but it's same.
Yep. Like he's been there. He understands.
Yeah. And how does that relate to the fire department?
I think we unintentionally do it the same way. You know, guys that have been around a lot more. I talk a lot differently with you two than I do our newer guys. I talk a lot differently with the chief than I do younger guys or guys from other departments that we're friends with. It's all on a varying level. Even when you meet somebody new and you're like, we're going to share small things, not pour our
part of that
hearts
is
out.
we don't want to like, hey, have you seen this is the worst part of the job. This is your day one.
Right.
There's a couple of questions I had for you, Casey, on that. You know, like, so you got these messages coming out. They're great. I listen to them even when I give the briefing during wildland season to my guys up at the helicopter. You know, I'll read it.
Right on.
You know, it's great motivational. It kind of keeps you going. Like, as you know, I went through a shit ton of hell the last couple of years, building everything up, rebuilding on the physical aspect, mental aspect, emotional aspect, all across the board. There's times where, I mean, at one point, Sarah came to the house and I was printing and I didn't even know she was there and I broke down. I was broken down, didn't know where I was going to go next. And then you can get into that rabbit hole, and that rabbit hole can be one or two outcomes, either a good thing or a bad thing, you know, that both sides of that spectrum. And I kept telling myself, good side of the spectrum, you know, actions over words. Let's go, you know, hence podcast, hence everything else that we're doing, you know, rebuilding up the training program, the fire department, you know, it's a whole different beast from 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
And getting yourself out of that survival mode.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all comfortable with that. And when you're deployed and you're going through that, that's what it is. And that's what you have to do to survive. But when coming home and that transition can be so damn difficult. And then you compound that fact with other stuff like being a firefighter and seeing traumatic things and all of that, it can really get into your mental health.
Yeah.
And just talking about it. I mean, we've said that, I don't know how many freaking times to whoever. It doesn't matter if you're, like Casey said, leadership or otherwise.
Yeah.
And for you, it was that point, it just reached up. A good way that somebody put it up was another firefighter that put it to me while we were on an assignment in Cali was you have a cup. And you have all of that stuff, that survival mode stuff gets up to the top. And then all of a sudden that one little thing breaks it and everything just comes out. And the way it was put to me is that cup, you have to do certain things, like whether it's a breathing exercise or yoga or going to the gym or talking about it. Each time you do that, it takes a little bit out of the cup. And you keep doing that. And it's a give and take. You can't just expect one thing to get rid of your full cup.
No,
that's
not
not
at all.
how it works.
Yeah.
Well, and see, I've heard it put another way with the emotional bank. You know, we answer some of the nastiest calls that humanity sees, whether they be wrecks, you know, medical issues, whatever the case may be. Those all take away from the emotional bank. So we deal with this negative stuff just constantly, and that's just making those withdrawals from that emotional bank. But a lot of us fail to forget that we have to deposit back into that. We have to find the light, the positive, you know, spending quality time with your spouse, your family, your kids, whatever it may be, or even at that moment in that call, it could have gone every which way from Sunday. But at the end of the day, as long as you can look back on it and say, I did everything in my power to make this situation better. Sucks that it turned out this way, but I gave my all. That's a small amount of positive that you can throw back into that negative to help yourself out.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. That's one of the things that kind of we've in this whole room, not just on the camera here, is we have our family game nights, and that's a way we can sit down and talk about that. And I don't know what else we wanted to cover on there. I'm just trying to remember this from memory, but that kind of leads us into what exactly is discussed during our family game nights and our debauchery and how the Boomtown Crew podcast, our logo came to be. We've had that question a few times, if it's Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
And it's funny, none of us even thought of that.
No,
I mean, does the Boomtown Raccoon even have a name?
No, we don't have a name for him yet.
I was thinking Ricky Raccoon. But
Well, we were thinking about like having a vote and getting people out there to figure out what are we going to name our raccoon.
Yeah.
You know, actually, Sarah, can you pull up our Boomtown Crew podcast logo or Cedar, please? Thank you. There we go.
Hey.
So that's our logo right there. it took us. I mean, that was a year in the making, almost. You know,
And it's funny how a conversation of total debauchery and just random stuff that comes
Oh,
up
yeah.
at our
Oh, it
family game
was,
nights,
too.
and then here we are looking at what I would affectionately call a badass tacticoon.
yeah.
You know the best,
Tacticoon, yes.
the best part of that raccoon though is it was designed by a Marine, but it's wearing Army OCPs.
It is pretty entertaining.
So I tried to keep it kind of universal with everything that we're doing with it. Obviously, I have the K-bar for the Marines.
for the Marines, yep.
Yep. And then, of course, we incorporate a little bit of Army. Unfortunately, Air Force and Navy and Coast Guard and Space Force are not included.
Yeah,
but
they don't count.
they count. They just don't count in the logo, right?
The Air Force and the Space Force wear Army uniforms anyways, so
Yeah.
That's true.
They're
Yeah.
chameleons.
So yeah,
They're
so
represented
that's-
there.
They're represented there. You know, we wanted to develop them too to have a couple Easter eggs too throughout, like while we build the podcast. So we figured, hey, what's one thing that we can constantly change on the raccoon? His tattoos.
yeah, there we go.
So you look at his tattoos, and of course, it's a little bit more biased towards our favorite stuff. You know, myself is the helicopter manager for 9.5 Mike. And, you know, we love the helicopter, especially on our wildfires. And that
Saves our butt.
Yep. And then our new engine. Yeah. So we figured through the course of time, we're going to be changing that. You know, like we'll have, and kind of having whoever's watching the podcast or whoever's kind of paying attention to social media for us as the tattoos change, let us know what you see. What do you know about that? You know, like,
Maybe there's a chance you get 20% off or something on your next order.
or free shirts, free swag, hey, whatever, however that looks, you know. So now we have to talk about the origin story.
Oh man.
And I don't know how kid friendly this is. So if kids you're watching, don't tell your parents.
Don't watch this part.
Now's your time to leave.
Now is your time to leave or complete denial. All right. It was Super Bowl probably 3 years ago, 4 years
Yeah,
ago.
it was,
It was a while ago.
49ers and who was it?
Well, it was the Super Bowl when Eminem was the halftime show.
Yeah, that was a
yeah.
great halftime show.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what most of us were there for anyway.
Well, yeah, that and Tay-Tay.
Well, oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good old Tay-Tay.
Tay-Tay.
Yeah. So we were watching, it was Kansas City versus somebody else. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
So I think that was only 2 years ago.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but
It makes sense because, I mean, it was definitely the influence for our logo.
It absolutely
You know,
was.
we're like, all right, cool. We want a badass, rabid raccoon. I don't want that to be his name. You guys pick his name.
Anyways.
You guys pick. But we want to make sure that it's a cool name for him and not Rocket. If I see Rocket, no.
nope.
So we were sitting there talking, and at some point the game just was not. We were not entertained
Yeah.
by the game at all.
Nah, it was terrible.
And somewhere along the line, we started talking about how small raccoons can fit into something.
Pretty certain one of us was watching a video on one of the social medias. We were just doom scrolling while being in the conversation of the group.
Yeah.
And something came up about how small the raccoon, like how big of
get.
a space they can shove through.
Yeah,
Speaking of small ones, there is such a thing as a pygmy raccoon, and they're in Mexico.
like a baby mini one,
You boys like
No,
Mexico?
it's a pygmy. It's like a pygmy goat or a pygmy pig.
Yeah.
They're little.
but it's a mini little baby raccoon.
Yeah, they live in Mexico. There's only like 250 of them left. They're close to extinction.
Oh,
No
so
kidding.
we can't have one then.
No putting him in my butt because that's a national crime.
We haven't even got there.
We haven't
yet,
got there,
Shane.
Shane. Thank you for opening up the next
sorry.
segment.
Whoa.
So
No, I'm pretty.
we ended up talking about, you know, how like in Iraq or I mean, even here in America, these rats and mice can fit into small holes. Like what is it, a quarter of their size?
Something
We're
like that.
At what point can a raccoon, they can get pretty small. How, can they fit in a butthole?
And how many can you
And
fit?
how many can you fit in a butthole? That's
Before
what
it
we're
becomes-
talking about. You know?
And the sad but funny part is the length of time during this discussion and how many people were involved. There's like, I don't know, 10 of us.
There was 10 of us. It was a 4 to 6 hour conversation. We didn't stop talking. The game was over.
Well, it wasn't just the conversation. It was just how it just kept naturally
going.
going.
Yeah,
Because then we'd
'cause-
change. We'd talk about something else or we'd start playing a card game or something. And then someone would be like, hey, how many raccoons would it take to buy this? What?
Yeah.
Well, what's the monetary value of a raccoon?
Yeah, and we started figuring out like how many raccoons per yard.
Yeah,
you know,
while we
'cause-
were watching
while
the
we were
game because it
watching
was
the game,
so
we're like,
damn boring.
Well,
Yeah,
it
he
was-
kicked it from 40 raccoons away.
It 100% was the raccoon-based life system.
Yeah. There was so much we were talking about that. So
Oh, man.
That's kind of so maybe that dark, weird, odd, and strange humor that just naturally comes out when you get a group of folks together who have been through some stuff, and that's just what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's no different than that same stuff will happen while we're at the station on a call.
Oh yeah.
The stuff we talk about, it's
especially
ridiculous.
like the extended wildland calls. We'll be on an assignment for 2 freaking weeks. The stuff that you talk about,
Yeah.
is pretty intense.
But it fills in that boredom too, like that's one of the biggest things I missed from Iraq. Like
absolutely.
we're not always running gunning, and it's 1% that you're actually running and gunning. But there's some funny stuff that happens. I mean, gut wrenching, 6-pack creating, just laughter between you and the guys and girls. We didn't really have many guys or girls on our end, but they're just laughing, good old time.
Yeah,
and
I went to that assignment with our neighbors, and I'm filling in on one of their trucks, right? And it's me and another engine boss. I'm figuring out how to be an engine boss, get my qualification, all that good stuff. And we had another firefighter who's new to firefighting. He's only been on a few months at the time. He's one of the residents, and we're going out to this assignment. And I forgot that the rear door, because it's just an extended cab, the rear door doesn't open unless you open the other door. Well, we stop at the gas station to refuel. I get out, shut the door. I have the window rolled down, and this guy just peeks his head out real quick, and he's like, can you release me, step engine boss? I'm like, when I say I lost it, I was dying. I'm like, you haven't said 2 words in the last 4 hours of driving,
And
man.
this is it.
Like, all right, this is going to be a great assignment.
yeah,
Well, even today, going to our mutual aid call that Reno and I were on,
yep.
I started picking on the rookie that was driving us because he's got a fancy leather chin strap on his department issued helmet. And then we were coming back and he had his coat off and he's got these nice red suspenders. And me and the other tailboard were sitting there and, oh man, look at those suspenders. They're fancy. Yeah, he's real cute. Kind of adorable. I think we can keep him.
We're going to keep him. We're going to keep him. Oh, but I mean, there's certain extremes too when it comes to some jokes too. Like for me, I had a seasonal last year on the helicopter. We had the head of the aviation program with us, the head pilot. You guys know him.
Oh, yeah.
And we were on the west end of the state, and we're going over there, and he gets there, and before we meet up with him, before we do a pilot swap, I was like, hey, no penis jokes. No penis jokes. And this guy is hard to get no penis jokes out of. Like
Every other
it's constant.
sentence.
And sure as crap, we're all sitting there. The fire had gotten buckled up, so we're just kind of waiting there for flare-ups or anything like that. And we're all sitting there, and he's personally talking to him.
Oh, no.
And he's like, yeah, the ladies really like my, and pull, just pulls his hand down and he just starts talking about wangs. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. And don't get me wrong. Like,
I'm just imagining the look on your face. And just, like, I cannot get to you fast enough to tell you to shut up.
Myself
the
and the
bad
other
part
helicopter
is-
manager just looked at each other like, we got to do something quick. So
I
we made
can
him do
see the
bucket drills.
expression of the pilot because of how well I know him. I can
Yeah.
just see the reaction.
Like, who are
Yeah.
you? Go away, you Oompa Loompa guy. Like,
It's like, hey, man, we ended up doing bucket drills for him. I made him do it to where he was sweating and exhausted so he could go take a nap and go dream about penises. So that was kind of it's like, all right, go dream about him. Like, I don't need you speaking them out loud in front of this. So you know.
Just shush.
Yeah, so there's like those extremes. Some people just have no filter. I know sometimes I don't have a filter.
Well, we've all
but,
been there.
Yeah.
yeah, but today we're a lot more PC, especially out on the fire ground than we ever have been.
Yeah,
And we have to concern ourselves with that, make sure we're not saying dumb, ignorant things.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
the big part of that, I think it wasn't so much the societal shift, it was the fact that everybody's glued to cell phones.
Yep.
And everybody, when we're showing up to something or something bad's going on, everybody that's a bystander wants to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
We're getting recorded all the time.
So we're kind of forced into that PR standpoint, like
It is, but
we're,
it's a sense of professionalism that we should have even had before we were getting recorded. Granted, prior, all right, no big deal. You say something off colored, it just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's more visibility, I guess.
Yeah.
Like back when I first started fighting fire. Granted, it was only 13 years ago. cell phones, posting stuff to social media wasn't as big as it is now.
No.
And again, now I've seen pictures of scenes that we've been on that get posted into community watch pages on Facebook before the news even has anything, and it's from looky-loos going past us. So
Yeah.
you have to keep that in the back of your mind that you are constantly being watched.
Yeah. Act like the professionals that the public knows you to be.
Right.
And we know that ourselves to
Oh,
be.
absolutely.
But we can still have fun though too. Because
Yeah.
at what part in that regard though, like I mean, behind the scenes, we have fun. We poke at each other. What is it? Mess with one bean, you get the whole burrito.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I've
that's-
never heard that.
You've never heard that one? Yeah,
Well,
you
it's
mess
the-
with one bean, you get the whole burrito.
It's the
You still
sibling
got
thing.
like 10 minutes though because
Oh,
of the
yeah,
pausing
because of the
for
call.
the Chiefs
Yeah.
call.
I mean, it's the sibling thing. I can pick on my sibling, but if you pick on them, you're messing with me.
Yeah,
Right.
we're fighting now.
Yeah. Yep. Well, anyway, back to the raccoon, right? So the influence was how many raccoons you can fit in a butthole.
And then using it as a form
And
of currency and distance.
And you know,
And
as,
every
as,
other
as hard as
thing
that
under
is to
the
sound, now people who are listening, they're going to be like, "Man, I can't look at that raccoon the same ever again."
No. And they're
You
probably
know.
judging us. And you know what? We'll take your judgment.
But
It's fine.
But we can say he's been through the shit. You know, that's a tough raccoon, right?
Have you been thinking about that?
No,
to
I
say
haven't. I
that?
just made
I
that
think
up.
he has for like the last week.
Yeah,
Like, I'm going to say this on the next episode.
And I'm going to find the perfect opportunity to insert that.
you caught me. I was in
insert.
front of the mirror.
I mean, this is the perfect time to insert this one since you're talking about a raccoon going through shit. Apparently, President Calvin Coolidge refused to kill a raccoon that was meant to be for Thanksgiving dinner, and it survived. Its name was Rebecca, and it lived in the White House.
No kidding.
For all of you history nerds, husband.
That's good to know.
Sorry, I'm just thinking that's Rebecca.
Female? Rebecca? No, don't you dare.
No, that we need to have a female version of
We
the
do
raccoon
need a female
now.
version.
That is named Rebecca because
Yeah.
Calvin Coolidge just became my new favorite president.
That is awesome.
But yeah, it'd be like his girlfriend or his wife or
Yeah.
baby
Now
mama
you
or
gotta make another
something.
one.
Baby mama. Jesus. You just have male, female raccoon, and then the little raccoons.
Yeah.
Little babies.
We can announce the birth.
All right. What else were we going to cover today?
So, we pretty much talked about a lot of the whole, like, you know, honest conversations, brotherhood, sisterhood, kind of how we set up Boomtown Crew, you know, like there's a couple different stories behind Boomtown. I like it as that motivational kind of thing. Boomtown, yeah, baby,
yeah.
you know, like, all right, cool. Like, we just had a crazy call. It was intense. You know, it just feels good to finally get through that, you know, that just at the end of it. And then you want the next one to happen, you know, that kind of thing. But Boomtown Crew has kind of like put us together, and that's why we wanted to start this. And we wanted to envelop it into something that spreads out. We want to build community amongst more than just veterans and first responders, our blue collar workers, all Americans, you know, like everybody that comes together that values that family, that friendship, brotherhood, sisterhood, and everything like that. So we covered that. I think one of the questions, reaching out when you're struggling and how much should you disclose? We kind of talked about it a little bit. It's kind of hard because, you know, sometimes, you know, you want to reserve yourself and it just naturally happens. You're like, man, I can take care of this problem myself. How do we solve that? You don't want to disclose everything because you want to make sure you trust the person that you're disclosing to. B, you don't want to, none of us like to be exposed, you know?
No, and it's difficult. It depends on the relationship that you have with that person, especially with a spouse.
Yeah.
I personally, and this was before Sarah and I were married, had a situation where I responded to a CPR call for an overdose, and it happened to be somebody that we both knew. And I know you know who I'm talking
was on
about.
that one.
And I responded straight there, got there, and it's a pretty bad scene in what happened. And unfortunately, he did pass. But I remember returning and saying pretty much that, hey, this is what happened. And it came off very matter of fact and unemotional, like, hey, this is what happened and how it went down. And I remember she was looking at me and she's like, how could you just say it like that? Like, I'm a monster is how she was viewing me.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at it and I'm like, man, she's kind of right. Am I a monster? And that made me question who I am. And I hadn't been on the department for very long and didn't know anything, but I had been witness to stuff like that in my previous Afghanistan and other things that I've seen, and kind of growing accustomed to that. And I'm like, man, maybe she's right. Is there something that she's saying that I am a disconnected monster for saying something like that? It took me actually years to sit down and think, you know what, they're not privy to that kind of stuff, that there are some people who are meant to see that and rise to the occasion, become first responders, veterans, whatever, and see that and do a damn good job. And then there are those people who they're not interested in that. And there's nothing wrong with either one. It's just we have two ways of handling it. And I've finally decided, you know what, not everything needs to be discussed and talked to with everyone. Like, I trust you guys. Gloves are off. I'm going to say whatever it needs to be said.
Right.
But, and Sarah and I talk about everything now too. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and building off that, Shane, like having been on that call, and I had been on probably dozens of CPRs at the point of that one. That was the first CPR I ever had to walk out of the house into the street, tell a command figure to get screwed because he was giving me crap about leaving, collect myself, walk back in to keep doing the job. And since then, I've probably done hundreds and have no problem staying in that room the entire time. And then it was probably about a month after that, I went to the liquor store, and somebody that had gone to school with each of us asked about it. And that was my first experience with actual PTSD symptoms. Like, she asked, and my hands started shaking, my heart rate was through the roof, and I just started sweating. I was like, what is going on? Didn't realize that it was a problem. I was just like, oh, whatever, waved it off. And now, even in my own journey of figuring out, hey, here's some triggers, here's some things that do set you off, this is stuff that you're dealing with, being more in tune to that, even having a bad mood. Trying, like before, back in the day, like I'd be in a bad mood, whatever, it's a bad mood.
Yeah, you disappear for 3 days or something.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Like, I still enjoy that, but at the same time, too, in that time frame, I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. Is it I'm just in a bad mood, or is there something that happened that is causing me to be in this mental state? Because it absolutely does me no good to disappear on my friends and family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're equally wondering, am I going to have to go beat on your damn door
Right.
to make sure that you're okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would say back to the actual question is it depends on the situation that you're in and who you're talking to.
Oh,
and it's
100%.
ultimately each of our individual choices of whether or not we should and how much we should discuss with them.
Yeah.
And consider their background and how long you've known them. There's a lot of different factors, but at the end of the day, it's your comfortability.
100%.
The biggest point is talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And I love that you mentioned that it was a delayed. You were okay other than when you were on the call and then you went for a month. There are those times that it sneaks up on you and you don't even know. You have no clue. And then just snap your fingers, boom, here we go. And I'm back in that situation.
And it's not always necessarily the calls or the stuff that we've seen in deployed overseas or whatever that was. There's always other factors too. And I think that's a big thing to consider too. A lot of people that really want to help us, they like to put that connection with our service, like for as a veteran or a first responder. But there's other things, like, shit, I lost a girlfriend. I haven't seen my kids in a couple of years. Like other battles that kind of finances. I mean, we talked about this on the last podcast. We mentioned it, like finances are huge. Bad relationship problems in general. Like there's a whole series of things that come together. And for me, the biggest thing that gets me out of it is developing that purpose. I want to build a community with Infinite Patriot, just like from our family game nights. I was like, hell yeah, like that's fun. Let's bring that to other people. Let's bring entertainment to people and let's actually talk to them and get them to figure out how to talk. That's a big thing. You can say, hey, let's talk. Well, I don't know how to talk. Like I'm dealing with this problem. I don't even know what I'm dealing with right now. And I'm still processing that. And you got people saying, hey, well, talk to us. How do we develop that system to where we help people figure out how to talk?
Well, the big thing that I've tried to focus on myself, especially being someone that's leading the mental health battle on our department.
Yeah.
Well, not battle, but front to keep everybody in a good mental state. The easiest thing that we can do, especially since all three of us sitting at this table are leaders, is showing that vulnerability, especially to our younger guys. Yes, we want to maintain that image of being the rock and the solid, and we're there every time they need us, but also show them by saying, hey, I've had these moments where I have been at my lowest, and I leaned on my two best friends. I leaned on my girlfriend. I leaned on my parents, whatever, showing them and telling them that, it goes beyond saying it's okay to not be okay. Go find help. Do you want to talk? Right.
Yeah. Don't just, here's a phone number here or whatever.
Does that work? I mean, you see the VA push that out.
I'm sure it has to.
The texting, I'm sure it does. If somebody's low, it's the middle of the night, it's a 24-hour 7. I've not done it. I've always had the card up, and I'd always look at it, and it would get me thinking. I'm like, all right, I got to make sure that I'm fixing myself. I'm doing the checks and balances for myself. I think I'm good. I'm gonna go keep myself preoccupied over here, or I'm gonna hit the gym up, or I'm gonna cook myself a nice big steak to remind myself, all right, cool. I need to be healthy, physically, emotionally, and mentally before I really want to call them, because those are the checks and balances that I do.
Yeah. Well, and leading from the front, we talk about that on the fire ground and throughout the fire service, and how a good leader should not be requesting something they themselves wouldn't do. We've talked about that a lot over the years. But another thing is that servant leadership and showing them, hey, I am vulnerable. I love that you're bringing that up, and that we're not always 100%.
Yeah.
Period. It's not.
Never.
It's never going to be like that. It never will.
It's never that facade on social media that you see on those pictures. That, the picture perfect world. We're all dealing with our own battles, right?
Well, the last time any of us was perfect was the day we were born.
I was a goofy looking little sucker.
Okay,
yeah.
you might be an exception, but as far as mental health goes.
No, yeah, you're right. Yep.
That was the last time we were all perfect. We all started getting problems from day one. So
Yeah. I'd like to hear what other people have to say too. About mental health, about the ability to have discussions with others. That's a huge thing for us coming here. We want to find those answers. We want to find those results, right? So I want to thank you guys. We're going over time, and I'm about to get in trouble. And we just want to thank you guys for being here at the Boomtown Crew podcast for our second episode. Casey, thank you.
Oh,
Shane,
absolutely. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah, Shane as well. Look forward to the next one where me and you are gonna. I don't know who we're interviewing next, but we're going to figure it out.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
We make the rules.
Yeah. And one thing with the Boomtown Crew podcast, it's going to be out every Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Is the first episode. We got it done, edited, so we just threw it out there. So hopefully you guys like it. We're going to throw a little bit of snippets out there for you. Casey will be revolving around as a panelist as well, too. So we have a whole series of panelists with us. I think we have 4 or 5. Next will hopefully be Courtney. He go talk a little bit about physical fitness and nutrition and stuff like that. I think that'd be a really good one.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, thank you guys. All right. Boomtown. Reno out.
Nice.